morning sun poured through the cafe's wide glass windows, flooding the room with golden light. The hum of the espresso machine, the gentle clinking of cups, and the smell of freshly ground coffee filled the air, a calm, sunlit refuge from the rush of the city outside. Everything about the place felt peaceful, almost sacred. But that calm changed the moment he walked in. He moved like a man used to command. Tall, confident, wearing a tailored gray suit that caught the light with every step. His keffiyeh was folded neatly, his dark sunglasses glinting under the sun's rays. His name was Sheikh al-Najjar, a billionaire from Dubai known as much for his success as for his arrogance. Behind the counter stood Lena, a 23-year-old waitress working her morning shift. Her brown hair was tied in a loose bun, her face glowing softly under the sunlight streaming in. She had kind eyes, the sort that told stories of long days and quiet strength. She wasn't just a waitress, she was a university student saving every rupee to keep her education going. If you love powerful real-life stories that touch the heart and open the mind, make sure to like this video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Everyday Kindness, where humanity shines brightest. The sheikh took a seat by the window, the sunlight casting sharp shadows across his table. Without looking up from his phone, he said flatly, "Turkish coffee, strong and make it hot." The last cafe in this country couldn't even do that right. Lina smiled politely, her voice calm. "Of course, sir. I'll bring it right away." But as she turned, his voice followed, clipped and cold. "And make sure it's not overbrewed. I don't have time for amateurs." Her smile faded a little, but she nodded and walked to the counter. Under the bright daylight filtering through the window, she carefully prepared the coffee. Her hands steady, though her heart was heavy. People like him came often. People who believed kindness came with a price tag, who thought manners were for the poor. When she placed the cup before him, the rich aroma of the Turkish brew filled the air. The sheikh lifted it to his lips, took a sip, and frowned. "Too bitter," he said sharply. "That's the traditional flavor, sir," she explained gently. "Turkish coffee is meant to be rich and strong." He set the cup down with a click. "Then perhaps your people should learn to make it properly." The words cut through the sunny calm of the cafe. A couple of customers turned, pretending not to listen. Lina stood silent for a second, then said softly, "Understood, sir." He looked her up and down, the sunlight gleaming off his cufflinks. "You're new here, aren't you?" "Yes, sir. Just a few weeks." He smirked. "Explains it. In my world you wouldn't last a day." Lina's chest tightened, but she simply said, "Maybe, sir. But everyone starts somewhere." He laughed quietly, shaking his head. "You're too proud for a waitress. And you're too unkind for a gentleman," she replied before she could stop herself. His eyes flashed. "What did you say?" She met his gaze steadily, the sunlight catching in her eyes. Respect works both ways. For a moment, the sheikh looked almost stunned. Then, with a dismissive wave, he pulled out a wad of bills and tossed them on the table. "Keep the change. It might teach you some humility." The notes fluttered across the marble surface, catching the sunlight as they fell. He turned and walked out, his shadow stretching long and sharp on the cafe floor. Lina exhaled slowly, her heart pounding. She didn't pick up the money. She simply cleared the table and went back to work, her dignity intact but her spirit bruised. Outside, the afternoon sun blazed, and she stood by the window for a moment, watching his car disappear into traffic. "Someday," she whispered, "someone like him will understand." Weeks passed. The days grew warmer, brighter. The cafe bustled with regular customers and sunlight that streamed endlessly through the tall windows. Lina worked tirelessly, polite smiles, kind words, quiet grace. Then one bright afternoon, the manager announced, "We've got a special guest today. Someone important. Treat him well." When the sleek black limousine pulled up outside and the door opened, Lina froze. The sunlight glinted off a familiar watch, a familiar stride. Sheikh Amir. Her breath caught, but this time he looked different. No suit, no sunglasses. He wore a simple white thobe, his expression calm, almost weary. The sun softened his features as he stepped inside. The same table by the window was waiting for him. And, by fate or design, it was once again Lina who approached. "Welcome back, sir," she said quietly. He studied her for a moment, then nodded. "Turkish coffee," he said, strong. "But this time, make it the way you like it." Surprised, she blinked, then smiled faintly. Right away, when she returned and placed the steaming cup before him, the sunlight danced off the surface of the dark liquid. He didn't touch it immediately. Instead, he asked, "Why did you speak to me that day?" "Most people don't dare." She hesitated. "Because, sir, kindness shouldn't depend on rank, and I've learned that silence can protect you. But sometimes, truth is the kinder thing to say." He looked at her quietly. Then, in fluent Arabic, he asked, "You're not from here, are you?" Without missing a beat, she replied in perfect Arabic, "No, but I studied Arabic since I was little. I love your language deeply." The sheikh's jaw tightened in shock. The afternoon light framed her face as if the universe itself wanted him to see the truth. The woman he had dismissed as uneducated spoke his mother tongue like a poet. "How?" he murmured. "My father was a professor of Arabic," she said, smiling sadly. "Before he passed away, he taught me to love your culture and your people. He used to say, to know a language is to understand a soul." For a long time, Sheikh Amir said nothing. The sunlight fell across the table between them, warm and bright. Then, slowly, he lowered his gaze, something few had ever seen him do. "I owe you an apology," he said quietly. "That day I was wrong." Lena's smile was gentle. "We all have our days, sir, but how we treat others in them, that's what defines us." He nodded, humbled. "You have taught me more in 2 conversations than most people have in years." If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Everyday Kindness. Let's spread more light, compassion, and understanding in the world, one story at a time. From that day onward, Sheikh Amir visited the cafe often, not as a sheikh, but as a man learning to be better. He'd sit quietly by the sunlit window, sometimes talking with Lena about her dreams, her studies, and her father's legacy. Eventually, he offered her a scholarship through his foundation. But Lena smiled and said, "Thank you, sir. But I'd like to earn it." He nodded, impressed. "Then let me give you the opportunity. Join my team. As my cultural advisor, you understand respect better than anyone I know." Months later, under the golden light of a bright Dubai afternoon, Sheikh Amir stood on stage at a charity event. The cameras flashed, but his focus was on Lena standing beside him now, confident and radiant. He turned to the audience. "Sometimes," he said, "life teaches us through the people we least expect. People like Lena, who reminded me that humility is the highest form of strength." Lena stepped forward, speaking into the microphone confidently. "Kindness is sunlight," she said. "The more you give, the more it shines back on you. Never underestimate the power of respect. It can change even the proudest heart." The audience rose in applause, the afternoon light gleaming like a promise of better days. True greatness shines brightest under the light of humility, because the moment we choose kindness over pride, we don't just lift others, we illuminate our own souls.